I've been going through my pattern stash again, and I found this off-the-shoulder, close-fit knitted top that I'm going to make a few changes to. Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Kyla, and I make custom designs, do pattern hacks, home decorating, and a whole lot more. I came across this really cool poodle knit fabric from Joann and thought it would look just perfect as an off-the-shoulder top. I've been seeing all these off-the-shoulder, oversized kind of slouchy sweaters online, and they're really cute and all, but they're expensive. So I went through my pattern stash and thought, let me see what I can find so that I can emulate this look myself. So I found pattern McCall's 7686, and I'm going to combine view E and view F and make my own look. I made a few small changes. Here's what I did. Let's get started. So you'll only need 5 pieces for this top. Piece number 12, that's your collar front. 13 is the collar back. Piece number 8 is the front bodice. I'm going to make this a little bit longer for me. Number 9 is your back piece, which I'll also make longer. And then piece number 14 is sleeve F. Even though I'm making view E, I like how narrow the sleeve is on view F. I don't want the bell sleeve like it's showing on view E. She's got the bell here, but I want the more narrow sleeve here. So 5 pieces, just elastic and thread, should be a quick sew. So I had to lay everything out on the floor because my cutting table is not wide enough for this fabric. But as you can see, I've got plenty of fabric to work with, which is good since I'm lengthening the top and changing the sleeves up a little bit. This is the front piece here, and I'm gonna have to take this because you cut it on the fold and then flip it over. To lay it out on the rest of the side. That way I can get the full piece. So that's why it looked as narrow as it did. But I've got plenty to work with, so that's great. So this is my front piece of the top that I'm gonna bring about maybe 24 inches just to give me the length that I'm looking for. And you can see how it's curved in here to make this a fitted top, but I'm gonna cut mine more at an angle so I can get a boxier shape. Even though this is out to size 14, I'll take that into consideration, so I really don't have to cut that much for myself as far as making the width a little bit wider for me. So this will give you an idea of the width of the top now that I've made my alterations to it. And now I'll repeat that for the back piece and serge the two together. If you don't have a serger like I do, you can always double stitch just as they suggest here in the pattern, or you can stitch it once and then zigzag stitch to finish off your edge. Being that it's a knit fabric, we don't have to worry about raveling. And we also don't have to worry about ironing. Yay, no ironing. This is collar front and collar back, and basically they're the same two pieces that mirror each other, but I'm going to show you what I did so that I can eliminate the hem. I'll move this one out the way, I'll take this off, and what I did was I folded the fabric in half. That way I'll eliminate the hem and it'll give me more of that sweater kind of fluffy feel that I'm going for. So that's one change that I've made, along with the lengthening of the top and the sleeves. When I serge these together, I'll serge both sides and then just fold them in half. So I've got the sleeves pinned to the armhole, and now I can serge those in place around that curved edge. That'll give you an idea of how it's going to look once it's attached. So now I'm pinning my two collar sections together. And once I finish pinning both sides, then I'm going to serge it on both sides on the edge, and then I'll fold it in half. And there's my collar. And no hemming at the bottom. Now that I've got the edges serged, I can fold it in half and attach the collar to the top. When I tell you that this fabric gets everywhere, it gets everywhere. So I'm definitely going to be vacuuming for a while, but you can see here's my collar. And I've got the look that I want. Now I'm ready to attach it. So I'm using my side seams on the collar to be my point of where to start pinning to the shoulder. Because this fabric had such a high pile, I didn't transfer my markings onto the back, especially since I was making my own alterations to it. But luckily, being that you have your side seams, you know what point to start pinning to the sleeve of the top. So then I'm just going to continue pinning all the way around, and then I will also serge these layers in place as well. I made a change last minute that I want to point out. They pinned the collar to the upper edges of the top, and once you make your casing, you'll fold that inside and hopefully catch that finished edge all the way around. I decided to take my collar and pin it on the inside. That way, I'll pull it from the inside out. And I'll just have that folded edge there. That way, if I don't, for some reason, catch the entire seam that's at the finished edge at the top, when I make the casing, you won't notice it because this pile is so fluffy, for lack of a better word. Okay, so I've got the collar serged to the top, and now I'll flip it to the outside to show you all what I mean. Yay! All right. Okay, so this is what I mean by flipping the collar over so that my serged edge is on the inside, and then it just looks like a rolled hem at the top, kind of matching the bottom. So all that's left for me to do at this point is to make my casing around the top for the elastic, and I'll finish off the edges of the sleeves, which I think because they're so small, I'm not going to be able to fit them around my serger to do a cover stitch. So I'm just going to fold them under and do a zigzag stitch. Luckily this is knit and it won't ravel, so that's really good. And as far as the bottom goes, I can do a cover stitch on that. Depends on if I feel like changing the threading system in my serger, because for those of you who have sergers, yeah, that's a little bit of work. So I don't know. I could do a zigzag stitch on this as well, but I may do the cover stitch to finish that off too. And then that top is done. Yay! So I want to give you an idea of what we're working with so far, and it's just kind of hanging on my mannequin because she has no arms. So I'm just working with what I got. So you can see that once I add the elastic, that'll bring the top part in, and I'm gonna have the look that I want. Okay, I'm making another change to this top. I decided that I'm not going to make the casing for the elastic. I'm just going to take the 1/4 inch wide elastic and stitch it to the bottom of where I serged the fold over flap and the top together. And I'm going to pull it as I go along. That way it'll retract to the width of my shoulders. So I'm just going to measure the amount of elastic that I need around my shoulders. Hopefully this is enough. If not, I've got to go back to the store to get some more. I'm going to measure this around my shoulder width, cut that, and then attach that to this serge rim. And that way, when I fold the top portion over, you won't see where there's an indentation from the casing. It'll just look like the sweater is just casually resting on my shoulders. That'll also be much faster than feeding the elastic through this type of fabric. Sewing should be fun, not stressful. And I'll just keep moving this along and stretching as I go, making sure to stay on top of my serge edge there. with the elastic. So I've got the elastic attached to the bottom part of the underside of the serging, and you can see here that I've got the stretch that I need, and no one will know the wiser when you fold the top over. So here's a final look, and I am so pleased with how this turned out. I'm gonna try this on, of course, but to give you an idea, I just kind of draped it on my mannequin with no arms. So you can kind of get an idea of what it looks like. And I am really pleased with it. And I'm glad that I folded that under edge just so that it looks rolled over just like the top. And I decided for the arms just to finish them off with a zigzag stitch on the inside. With a knit that has a pile on it, you can get away with the stitching just blending right into the fabric. All right, so I am going to try her on. I'm so glad that I brought the bodice part down longer. That way I can either wear it over leggings, or I can tuck in the front if I'm wearing it with pants or a skirt. And tapering the sleeves was a good idea as well for me, because when I roll my sleeves up, I want them to actually stay up. That way if I'm wearing bracelets, you can see them. So I love taking something and putting my own spin on it and making it my own. So I hope you found some inspiration to spark your creative flow. And please comment, like, and subscribe. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.